Dr. Corsi, like so many of our viewers, I'm finding myself really eagerly anticipating our conversations because there's so much going on right now that is so difficult to understand. We need you, Doctor, to decode this information and fill us in. How are you today, Dr. Corsi?
I'm great. Looking forward to the discussion. I followed of course, the impeachment proceedings yesterday all day in the House, which got to be extremely tedious.
Yeah.
And repetitive and boring. I mean, this was a horrible television show. If that was the way the optics of the impeachment from the Democratic point of view could not have been worse. I mean, you had three of the least photogenic people in America, Schiff, Nadler, and Pelosi, leading the charge.
Yeah.
Between Schiff with his bug eyes and his, it looks like there's something psychologically wrong with him just looking at him. And Nadler doesn't need much explanation in terms of, falling asleep and drooling and his weight and all the other issues. And Nancy Pelosi may have one day been a beauty queen a long time ago, but
is that
today
true?
I think half the time. Oh yeah, sure. She started out as a bathing beauty.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
For gas stations, I think it was, or automobiles or something in California.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, there's pictures of Nancy in bathing suits when she was young and. Not bad, but I'll tell you today, I think she's hanging on to it a little bit long.
Oh, wow.
I think half the time she sounds drunk in these press conferences.
Absolutely.
At any rate,
Oh my God, Dr. Corsi, look at this.
Have you found one of them?
Yes.
Let me see it. Yeah, they're out there. They're very much out there, and
wow.
You can see them. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them out there, photographs from her when in her bathing beauty days, mostly for gas stations. I think that's what it was when you pumped gas station in the 50s.
This says
at
false,
any rate,
but not important. Sorry, Doctor.
What's false?
Well, Snopes
she was
says it's false.
What, that she was a bathing beauty?
Photograph shows Nancy Pelosi as Miss Lubrack, 1959.
Oh, well, she might not have been Miss Lubrack, but she was a bathing beauty out there doing the California deal. You could see the obvious in that picture. At any rate, the impeachment did not convince the American people. That was the very first issue. We went, the goalposts kept changing. We had already been through the Russiagate, which for 3 years, Schiff is saying he had proof of collusion. And, of course, then Mueller comes out, he had nothing, no Russian collusion. I went through it. They wanted to put me in prison for this lying, and I did not lie, but they wanted me to face, obstruction of justice, 25 years in prison, which would have been a death sentence at my age, or just tell us that you really did connect Assange and Roger Stone, which would have made their collusion case, but I wouldn't do it because it wasn't true. I didn't have anything to do with Assange. At any rate, when you see it rolls out now as Ukraine, again, the Ukraine repeated the Russiagate instead of the Schiff dossier at the heart of it, you've got a whistleblower who is hidden and turns out to be a CIA guy and who worked for Biden, and all these characteristics come out about who he is, and then no one can interview him. You can't mention his name on YouTube. You can't mention his name anywhere, and he never testifies. And so we go through it, and it changes from quid pro quo, then what was it, extortion, and then what was it, bribery, and finally it's abuse of power. Well, that's not a crime. I mean, it's a far stretch to say that's a crime. And so you had these two articles of impeachment, the other one, obstruction of Congress. I mean, that's very creative based on appealing to the Supreme Court when you want to exert executive privilege to prevent the various personnel working for the president from having to testify about presidential work in public. There's a long history of that, and that's not obstructing Congress to exert that privilege. In fact, I think the Congress and the Supreme Court's taking up those issues, as they are several of the issues the Democrats want to pursue. And so now the new twist is Nancy Pelosi today gets revealed that she may not even walk across the aisle through the gallery, statutory gallery to the other side of the Capitol to deliver the articles of impeachment to the Senate. And it stems from a strategy that I find is really at the heart of what's going on here. It's from Lawrence Tribe, who's a professor that I've known since I was about 17 years old, when he was young, just getting out of law school, just starting in the Harvard law faculty. I was a college debater when I was a kid, and he was in college debate, and he was part of the Harvard college debate team, coaching it and associated with it when Harvard had a tournament. I got to know him pretty well. But, of course, today we are at odds with each other. Lawrence Tribe created lawfare, like warfare, and this organization, lawfare, has designed the strategy that Nancy Pelosi is using.
Well, now, wait a minute,
In
Doctor.
fact,
You're talking about the lawfare blog with Ben Wittes?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. The mentor for that is Larry Tribe.
He's trouble, Dr. Corsi.
Well, yeah, he is trouble. He just wants to get rid of the Constitution and rewrite it. He thinks it's a little old. And by the way, 3 of the lawyers who were on Schiff and Nadler, who you saw repeatedly, this Barry Burke, who's the guy with the black glasses, and the Goldman, who is Daniel Goldman, who you saw in the Nadler hearings in the House Judiciary, and the third one was this Norm Eisen. They were all the very, very antagonistic and very partisan lawyers for the Democrats in both the House Intelligence with Schiff and the House Judiciary hearings with Nadler. They're all lawfare. And the whole idea of this strategy, Larry Tribe is saying, look, we're not going to win a Senate trial. Donald Trump there's no chance he's going to be removed from office. So Nancy Pelosi, why don't you just not deliver the House articles of impeachment, which means the trial can't start in the Senate. And that'll at least give Minority Leader Schumer more bargaining power as he tries to get witnesses. In other words, they want to interview Mulvaney and other people from the administration, because Mulvaney, in one press conference that he gave, did acknowledge the truth, which is foreign aid's not in the Constitution.
Yeah.
And virtually from the beginning, it's been given with strings attached. We're not just going to give you this money. We expect you to do some things with it.
Right.
And Mulvaney said that. And actually, I think the real motivation of why the Democrats want a trial in the Senate is because they're still looking for evidence. In other words, the Russia collusion predicated on the Russians stealing the Democratic Party emails goes back to CrowdStrike and the theft of the DNC emails from this server, which the DNC never turned over to the FBI for independent analysis. I think it was this Seth Rich, the staffer who was murdered during the campaign. I think he stole the emails as an inside job. At any rate, Russiagate, in both the Operation Crossfire Hurricane in the FBI, opened as a counterintelligence investigation, and then the Mueller investigation, Office of Special Counsel, were really trying to find the evidence to back up this claim that Russia stole the emails and there was Russia collusion between Trump and Moscow to try to defeat Hillary. They never found the evidence. And the same now with Ukraine-gate. There's no evidence. They're trying to find the evidence, and now they want 3 things. They want Mueller's grand jury material. They want the deposition from former White House counsel Don McGahn, who Trump in one of his tirades said, fire this guy, fire Comey, fire Mueller, fire everybody. And they want the Trump financial and tax records. Well, these are 2 of these issues are in the appellate courts, federal appellate courts. That's both the depositions and the Mueller grand jury material. The Supreme Court's actually looking at the Trump financials and tax issue. But if they could get a trial, if Schumer could get McConnell forced to have a trial with witnesses and evidence, saying we're not going to allow you to acquit Donald Trump with a trial because we're not going to walk over with the articles until you agree to what Schumer wants and we have a real trial so we can get evidence. They're still looking for evidence of Ukraine Gate like they were looking for evidence of Russia Gate. They won't find it. But at any rate, the other strategy is not to hold a trial because they don't want to give Trump the win of having been acquitted. And they know Trump will be acquitted. So the current logic from Lawrence Tribe, which is being adopted by Lawfare, the Lawfare blog, and Nancy seems to be on board, is to really not ever hold a trial in the Senate.
Wow.
Because
Dr.
they know
Corsi.
they know he'll be acquitted and probably on a motion to just dismiss. Yes.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. It sounds like a motion to dismiss would be the appropriate way to handle this, because the motion to dismiss is, as I understand it, based on improper proceedings, improperly pled complaint, and the fact that they're not even accusing him of a crime is exactly what a motion to dismiss was made for.
Right. And I think that from what Lindsey Graham has said repeatedly, and remember, Lindsey Graham is also implicated in Ukraine because he and John McCain were over there getting some Legion of Honor from Poroshenko, who is the Nazi, really a Nazi, neo-Nazi president that was put into power by the State Department and George Soros in the 2014 Maidan uprising in Ukraine, in Kiev. And so they all partnered and buddied with Poroshenko. That was the same guy the State Department supported, Biden supported when he put in his son in Burisma. Biden then goes to the Senate and he argues that Ukraine needs foreign aid in order to develop its gas industry, natural gas, because Russia has to be competed with. Russia derives a lot of its foreign exchange currency from selling natural gas. I mean, the quip about Russia, and I forget who said it, was that Russia is a gas station masking as a country. It's probably true, basically. And then they get $1 billion from Obama in this aid that Biden has awarded by Congress, and it gets stolen. Okay, it gets stolen through Private Bank, which is another oligarch close to Poroshenko named Kolomoisky. And meanwhile, the original founder of Burisma, Zlobchesky, who was a communist on the board or in the cabinet of Yanukovych, the communist who was deposed in 2014. Yanukovych split to Moscow. Zlobchesky went to Monaco. And basically, Biden and Poroshenko and Kolomoisky bought Zlobchesky's shares. So Kolomoisky and his private bank, buddies of Poroshenko, buddies of Soros, protected by Biden. Now they own Burisma. They get $1 billion in foreign aid. They steal it. And that's the backstory. I mean, that's what was really going on.
But none of that is coming out in any of the proceedings, Doctor, because they've got us so distracted with lies about President Trump. It's almost undeniable.
That's the point.
That's exactly what it's about, that they don't want any actual evidence. They want it all to be this nonsense, this smoke and fire and brimstone coming from Adam Schiff. It's important that we remind everyone, Doctor, that every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, you and I are doing a show on Patreon, Dr. Corsi's Prescription for America, and that's where we get really in-depth on these topics. People can join us in just about 15 minutes on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I also want to remind people, Doctor, they can visit CorsiNation.com. You're doing your daily news decodes there, and people can find links to all of your social media platforms and the various ways that they can financially support Corsi Nation and Dr. Corsi. Don't forget, Dr. Corsi has a new book coming out in January, Coup d'etat, all about exactly what's going on right now, this illegal coup d'etat being executed by Barack Obama's Confederates, whether they're at the Brookings Institute and the Lawfare blog, or Covington and Burling with Eric Holder positioning his firm as General Flynn's lawyers setting up Flynn to be like a lamb going to slaughter. It's an amazing array of things that have been going on, Dr. Corsi. We're going to have a lot to talk about, and I know everybody's getting ready for the Christmas holiday, so it's interesting that they chose to bring all this to President Trump. Do you think there's a psychological aspect, Doctor, just sort of crapping in Donald Trump's eggnog to make him feel bad over the holidays?
Well, I think if they did that, it's backfired, and that's really the theme of what we're going to talk about today, is that we see the Democrats are plummeting in the polls. They did not convince the American people of any crime that was here for Donald Trump to be removed from office. There's certainly no high crime or misdemeanor of the magnitude of what the Constitution specifies. So you've got basically a public reaction against the impeachment. The American people are tired of it. They saw this in Russiagate. It didn't work out for the Democrats. It's a repeat performance with Ukraine. It didn't work out for the Democrats. Donald Trump, I think, now is seen as really the victim. He is seen as his agenda being all this resistance movement, all the Democrats have wanted to do in their move to becoming Democrat socialists, with AOC and the squad really replacing Nancy Pelosi as the effective leadership of the Democratic Party today. And so Donald Trump's gaining in the polls. And I thought last night in his rally that he had in Battle Creek, Michigan, he didn't look to me like he was hurt at all. I mean, he's saying, "Does this feel like I'm impeached?"
Yeah.
He's energized by it. He's gaining strength from it. So the ultimate result of this is politically, I think that Donald Trump benefited. I mean, it almost makes you think Donald Trump raised Biden in the conversation with Zelensky because he knew how many people would be listening to it, how they would react, and this was his only way to get the Biden corruption on the agenda. Because the guy who's been devastated by this is Biden.
It's true. And you know, Doctor, we've got just a few minutes until we're going to head over to Patreon. One of the things I want to ask you about when we get there, the very vocal and maybe not so wise AOC, who I've dubbed AO Che Guevara, she came out against Tulsi Gabbard, who voted present rather than voting for impeachment. One of the only Democrats not to vote for impeachment. Kind of a surprising move for some people, but we can cover that when we begin.
I have one more comment I'd like to make.
Sure.
Look at how much of a dud this has been, how much it's backfired for the Democrats. Do you realize there's a Democratic debate going on tonight when nobody knows about it, nobody cares? I mean, it's amazing. So, wait a minute. Laura Ingro's mentioning yesterday, there's a Democratic debate tomorrow. Yes, well, tonight there's a Democratic debate, and it's a complete anticlimactic event. I mean, I don't know who's going to watch it unless by accident you happen to cross the channel.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be a non-event. That's how much the Democrats have sunk their own ship with this impeachment.
Well, I think perhaps people can watch it and remain hopeful that Joe Biden may insult members of the audience and challenge them to a push-up contest.
I don't know. I hope he remembers where he is.
Yeah, I doubt that'll happen, Doctor. But, we will be on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth in just 10 minutes. So if you're watching us right now, make your way over there. I also want to remind people that whenever we do these YouTube previews for Dr. Corsi's Prescription for America, you can also watch the simulcast on Dr. Corsi's YouTube channel. And for viewers who are with us on the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel, we've got a very healthy audience over there right now. Welcome to the over 200 people. Don't forget, you've got access to Super Chat, and you can send, where did it go? Show that chat. You can use Super Chat to support the doctor financially as you watch the videos, and that's a great way to support Dr. Corsi and show your support for Corsi Nation. Doctor, I'll see you on Patreon in just 10 minutes. Looking forward to it.
So am I. Thank you very much, Jason.
And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in 10 minutes.